Do you have the energy you need to complete the task? So often we are leaking energy on things and activities and relationships that are not helping us. They require our energy. They feel a lot like work. They sometimes feel like suffering and pain and purgatory, and they're not getting us where we need to go. It's not necessarily about working out more, eating better, though those things help. Certainly getting more sleep helps. But we're doing work sometimes that's stealing our energy. It's work that's not productive. It's sometimes causing us to divert our energy, or at the very least, it's simply taking up time and energy we could be using for something else. When we're younger, it's easy to just say, well, we're going to throw our energy at everything. And even some of the wisdom that people talk about is, when you're young, you just take massive action and do big things. And yes, there's a lot to that. But pretty quickly, you start realizing that if you just sort of throw your energy around everywhere, it gets very exhausting and you find yourself going nowhere. It gets frustrating. And the worst thing that happens is it can lead you to start feeling very hopeless, very almost resigned to, well, you know what? Why bother? It's not going to work anyway. And so what we need to do is make sure that we identify as quickly as possible those things you need to get out of your life. So first thing is list everything you do that does not directly make you money. Some of these things are going to be necessary in your business. Some of them are going to be things that make you money in the long run. Some of them are things that are part of your day-to-day operations. But if it doesn't directly make you money, that already puts it in a category that we need to look at and examine and decide, is this really worth our time? Is this truly an investment of our time that's going to pay off later in either relationships or direct sales or goodwill or something that's going to help our business? Or is this just another activity that somebody told us we should do, or we heard on the internet or on social media, and we're blindly just throwing activity and energy around? Now take that list of tasks that you do that do not directly make you money and identify which tasks you could postpone for 1 month without any consequence. Most of the activities that are critically important to you need to be done on a regular basis, maybe not daily, but usually at least weekly. There's a certain amount of wisdom around how your business runs to understand that, of course, there are certain things you could postpone for a year, but they'd hurt you. It might not show up in the analytics right away, but eventually they'd hurt you. So think about those things that if you didn't do them for 30 days, it really wouldn't matter much. Identify those, write those down, because we're going to do something really powerful with those. Uncover activities you do for quick dopamine hits and to build your confidence. Whenever you're executing your plan, sometimes things are going to work really well. You're going to see the results. It's going to become obvious that everything is clicking. You're going to get your cookie. You're going to get your dopamine hit. You're going to be able to see the money coming in. It's going to show up on the analytics, the likes, the orders, the sales, whatever it might be. And then sometimes you're not going to be getting those dopamine hits, but you're still doing the right thing. And we want to make sure you keep doing that. Sometimes you're doing the activities quietly behind the scenes that are going to get you the results. So we need to be clear about what those are. And we also want to make sure we're aware of what are those things we do when our confidence takes a little bit of a hit. And so we just start looking at our stat reports, or we start counting likes or views or follows or shares. And those things are somewhat important, but they don't make us the most amount of money. And so we want to know what those things are. Sometimes it's reorganizing our desk or just recategorizing things or shuffling things. In my case, a lot of the times I like doing things in PowerPoint and Excel. It makes me feel creative and I can get lost for hours doing it, but it's not what gets me the highest impact and makes the highest income. And if I spend too much time doing that, then I don't get my key work done. And then I end up having to choose between, do I do that key, high impact, high income work, or do I now have to let go of time with family, with friends, with the most important activities I have outside of work? So again, these things will sneak up on you. They're there to really just tell you that at the moment, your confidence is a little bit off. But if you can note them, and if you've made a list of these, you can then notice every time I do this, okay, really need to get back to my fundamentals. I need to get back to doing the core things that get me the results. Do something I know works, something that I've planned out, that I've mapped strategically when I'm in a good place confidence-wise, and let go of these activities. Notice the activities you do when you feel stressed, anxious, or overwhelmed. Very often, we'll do some activities to help us feel competent or reduce that stress or overwhelm. One of the things that can really derail your day is to look at your email inbox before you do your most important tasks. And so instead of doing your most important work, you might manage that overwhelm or that stress by just working a bunch of emails. And now you're measuring your effectiveness inaccurately. You're thinking that the number of emails in your inbox is how we measure your success. So we just got to knock those out. We're going to forget about that high impact, high income work we planned a week ago or 2 weeks ago, or that's part of our big annual strategic plan and part of our 20-year goals, just to make sure we manage a little stress and manage a little anxiety and overwhelm. Now, if these activities keep coming back, chances are it's something you might need to be delegating to somebody else, or you might need to decide you simply don't do these activities. But for the most part, continue to push through with the most important activities and notice when you get off track. Usually those activities are things that you can delay, you can postpone. Sometimes you can just decide to never do them, and there's not going to be any huge consequences. There might be a squeaky wheel customer that yells at you that you need to let go of them anyway. There might be a team member that's not keeping up and you're having to constantly baby them. You're like, nope, I'm not going to get to that. I'm going to work on my highest impact, highest income activities. And when I feel stressed, I'm going to notice what is I'm doing? What am I doing to try to manage that stress? And know that the best way to manage that stress is to do high impact, high income activities, or to be outside of the office, relaxing, taking a break, de-stressing, hanging out with family, or maybe even doing something as simple as going to lunch or connecting with partners or people that bring you up, your mentors. But it's definitely not those activities that are just meant to keep you from losing your mind. So now we want to make a list of all these unproductive activities or less than productive activities. We want to list all the tasks you could postpone for a month without consequence. We want to list the activities you do for quick dopamine hits and confidence. We want to list the activities you do to manage your stress and your anxiety and your overwhelm. Make a list of all these activities and plan those activities, put them in your schedule on Friday afternoon or whatever is your last part of the work week. So I'm going to, for the moment, assume, let's say you're working a Monday to Friday work week and you're trying to get to 4 days, Monday through Thursday, just to keep that simple framework as a concept. Yours could be different. What we want to do is decide, you know what, Friday afternoon, we're going to do these activities that we know really aren't that important anyway. And now Friday afternoon, you're going to be faced with a choice of, do I do these activities or do I just push them back to next week? My suggestion is the second one. And do I enjoy my Friday? And so if you combine that with scheduling awesome activities for your Friday, and making sure you have cool stuff to do with family and friends and stuff you've always wanted to do, by the time Friday comes around, you're going to accurately push those unproductive, less than helpful activities back. You're going to continue living your life, being productive, and enjoying the journey. So every Friday, you're going to be faced with a decision. Going with this concept of taking Fridays off, you're going to have to decide, do you want to enjoy your weekends with family, friends, fun, recharging, doing those projects, the new business venture, even if you want to work on a Friday, the things that really amp you up and jazz you? Or do you want to just be doing the stuff that is not important, that's just managing your anxiety, that's just managing some past expectation of who you should be? If you can schedule important enough activities, engagements, relationship activities with people you care about most and things you love doing, it's going to be very easy for you to take that Friday off and push all that unimportant work to the next week. If you don't schedule anything for your Friday, then you're going to show up Friday and you're going to say, you know what could I do? I could do nothing or I could do something. I'm going to do something. I'm going to suggest you do nothing, take that weekend off and enjoy the work you've done, the rewards that come from it, and be ready to come back the next week recharged. I hope you find this helpful. If you have any questions on this, please let me know. As always, I look forward to helping you create the impact and the income you most desire in less time. Do what you do best so you can fully enjoy your family, your friends, your freedom, and your life. Stop doing unproductive stuff. Have a great week.